hate that because even with compliments, they like talk to me or whatever, and then they say, what do you mix with?
I had tanned over the summer, and she's like, oh my goodness. She was like, Ruth, like your skin completely changed. And I was like, yeah, like it's summer. I'm pale in the winter, but I'm a lot darker in the summer. And she was like, you need to stay inside.
Stop, bro. Again, stop telling dark-skinned women to love themselves and start fixing the problem. Like,
I'm so surprised that you feel this way. And she was like, oh girl, I know I'm beautiful, but I had to go through a lot.
First of all, just because you find me attractive, it doesn't mean I have to be brown skin. Like, I can be an attractive dark skin.
They have to rationalize it.
Hey guys, it's Hermella and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time seeing me, hi, my name is Hermella. I make lifestyle vlog, hair, and other entertaining videos. So, yeah, go ahead and subscribe and make sure to watch this video. So guys, I'm starting a new series where we just like, just chill and talk about like any topic that comes up in mind and then just like, record it and show it off basically. So today's topic is going to be, no.
I was kidding,
like, she's eating 2 days old mashed potatoes.
It's literally 4 hours old with mashed potatoes. Please shut up.
That's disgusting. Anyways, today's topic is going to be about colorism. So yeah, do you want to like start it off?
Yeah. So what was your first experience with colorism?
The first time I noticed like colorism and everything was when I was in 7th grade. And I grew up in Ethiopia, for those of y'all who don't know. I grew up in Ethiopia until I was like 14. And I remember in 6th grade in like my school, there's like majority light skin to brown skin girls and guys or whatever. But there's like, some dark skins. And they used to call the dark skinned people like Gambella. And Gambella is like one of like Ethiopia's tribe, and it's like predominantly dark skinned people. And they used to like have a negative connotation in that. And then people actually used to get offended by it. Like if you got called Gambella, they'd be like, what's it called? If you got called Gambella, the kids like used to actually like get offended by it. So I was like, damn, like it's just a tribe, but people are like, they just don't like being called that. And it's because like it's predominantly dark skinned people. But yeah, that's when I first noticed it. Like,
Honestly, I benefit from it, but I didn't know that I benefited from it until the first time I even ever heard the phrase is when one of my best friends at the time, she was like talking to me about it. She's Habesha, like she was basically like my older sister, so she told me about things, like mentored me, and she was like, blah blah blah, like she was just telling me about that's going on between her and her sister, because that in Habesha families, like kids are different shades, like it's always that way. Like not in mine, but like actually it is in mine too, but it's like there's always like a dark skin, brown skin, light skin kid, like it's all different shades. So she was like, the compliments they used for her and her sister were very different, and she clocked that, and we were very young at the time, and she was like, that's just so like wrong and blah blah, and she's like, it's colorism. I was like, colorism? What are you talking about? It's because you're not but that's the first time I ever heard of it. And then I didn't clock it for real until, like, remember in middle school, we were in middle school, and there's like, everybody's obsessed with light-skinned boys, curly hair. Not light-skinned girls, light-skinned boys, curly hair. I clearly remember it. And I was just like, okay, whatever. And then we got into high school, and everyone's like, dark skin out of the clear blue sky. Like, it did not even go gradually. One day we came to school, and all you hear about is dark-skinned men with waves are, the most attractive thing in the world, and blah, blah, blah. You could literally look like an ogre, and as long as you're a dark-skinned man with waves, you can have anybody you want. And I don't know where the hell that came from. They
associate dark-skinned men with like manly,
masculinity.
Like masculinity, and like even light skin, when light skin men with curly hair with like the wave, it was never like in a masculine good vibe. It was with a lover, soft type of like vibe. You know what I mean? Like a lover boy type.
Yeah, exactly. But and then after that happened, out of nowhere, they started being like, I've always just been like, oh, I don't have a type, whatever. But then people would be like, if you're into a light skin guy, like he's just so fruity, like pretty boy, or like. I could never, and I have like girlfriends who are like, no, like if you're a light skin guy, like don't even talk to me. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like 4 years ago, all you girls are saying that's the only type of guy you would even look at.
Yeah.
And it was stemming from, and I don't think they realized this in the moment, from them associating masculinity with darker skin, and then they also, and these are like dark-skinned women who were saying they would never look at a light-skinned guy, and I'm like, because he's so feminine.
It's
and
colorism.
Yeah, and I really talked to my friends.
I just
like,
realized that.
Yeah, and she's
recently.
like, a lot of my friends would be like, oh, I could never, like, they're not manly enough for me. Like, I feel like they're not masculine. I'm like, you realize you're degrading dark-skinned women. You're saying that, you're taking away their femininity, and you're saying that they're not feminine enough because of their darker skin, which literally A, does not correlate with B. It makes no sense.
It took me a while to even realize, because like right now too, it's like, you know, the dark skin, tall dark skinned men, that's very like, you know, attractive and all that, because they're manly. And even me, I used to be like, light skinned men, it's not really my vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and you'd never thought, like, I wonder, why do I think that?
Exactly, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
But then I watched this one video, and then it was like, the way you're feminizing like light skinned men, that because of that you're masculinizing dark skinned women, because you're just associating light skin to femininity and, like, you know, soft and all that, and then dark skin to masculinity. So with that being said, that's how like people even think dark skinned women are like, oh no, they're too aggressive.
Yeah.
They're too loud. They're too da-da-da. You could never like identify dark skinned women as like soft, da-da-da.
Ever.
They never ever
They're never
do
portrayed that way either.
Exactly. And then even movies and everything.
Of course, always.
It makes it so much worse.
Always, and it's always like dark-skinned man, light-skinned woman, and like, you know, like the Cosby Show.
Exactly.
He's not dark-skinned per se, but like he's of darker skin. And then again, that conversation is not, but like he's of darker skin, and of course the wife is light-skinned, super loose curls type hair. Same with the kids. There's a variety, but still, you get what I'm saying. Like the woman and the man play very specific roles. And then in almost all like black sitcoms, I mean, they replace dark skin Viv for light skin Viv, dark skin Claire, My Wife and Kids for light skin Claire. Like it's subtle, but that's the reason we're thinking these things. Like, it's like I'm forgetting the word, I'm getting tongue-tied, but it's coming, you know what I'm saying? Like it's being shown to us throughout childhood. We grew up watching these things, so naturally guys think like, oh, my wife is gonna be lighter than me. Actually, I've had honest conversations with a lot of my guy friends, and they're just like, my wife can't be darker than me. And I'm like, why do you think that? Why do you think that? And I'm like, but honestly, it's because of what they've been shown, how they've grown up, you know. For them, they haven't seen couples who, like, even me, it's just now. Growing up, I did not see couples who were the same complexion. I remember saying, I'm like, I can't imagine ever dating or marrying somebody with my exact complexion. I've never seen that.
Think about it. With you would want like a darker complexion, right?
Yeah.
And
but even lighter.
Women, exactly. For dark skinned women, if that's what you're saying, dark skinned women should go for light skinned men. But light skinned men would never go for dark skinned.
Exactly.
So dark skinned women.
No, but I mean, I'm not saying anything with that statement. I'm just saying that's an observation.
Yeah, but that's like usually how
like,
everyone is too.
Yeah.
Like, so dark skinned men would never prefer dark skinned women, because like, I don't want a girl that's the same complexion as me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They have
why is that? What's the reason? Because they don't want to have black babies.
I think there was a Girlfriends episode, if you remember, Tony, who's one of the characters, if you guys don't watch the show, and she's extremely like conceited, and I'm not using that in a negative way. She's just very confident, and you know, is very proud of her beauty. Like she focuses on her physical traits. She's like, you know, I'm gorgeous. I have a banging body. Like, you know, she really emphasizes that, right? And so she's dark skinned. And she's easily the most beautiful on that show, in my opinion. Yeah. And it came as a shock to her best friend on the show, who's light skinned, when she was like, oh, I can't marry him. He was like rich, lawyer, all that. Or I can't date him. And her friend was like, what? Why? And she was like, girl, like he's darker than me. And then Joan was like, she's like, what do you mean? And then whatever. And she's like, don't get me wrong. She's like, he's great, whatever. But she's like, I have to think about my kids. She's like, I can't have my kids with blah blah blah. I'm gonna have my hair, my this. She's like, I can't have my daughter struggle that way. She's like, don't. And then her friend was like, I'm so surprised because you're so, you know, proud of your beauty. You always talk about how beautiful you are. She's like, I'm so surprised that you feel this way. And she's like, oh girl, I know I'm beautiful, but I had to go through a lot.
Exactly.
And she's like, and this is one thing I only think like dark skinned women should speak on this perspective, because no one can judge them for that, because only they go through that.
Yeah.
And so she was like, yeah, I know I'm beautiful and I love myself and I'm confident. But she's like, I'm not going to subject my daughter to the same type of harassment and have to go through this like self-love journey that took her years and years and years. So she's like, I'm not going to do that to her. But I'm like, that's so sad that she has to think about that when dating someone. Like she likes them, she's like, I'm not going to do that, because then if you have a kid with this complexion and this hair type, she's going to go through hell and I'm going to have to like watch that happen.
Exactly. And then especially as a parent, like you have to be strong, especially for like a dark-skinned woman in this society, when like the only person that can teach you self-love is literally yourself, because society literally like, keeps proving it, like not proving it, but like it keeps showing you like the wrong perspective.
Yeah.
Because everyone is like, even in movies, a guy like he goes to a dark-skinned face with the white-skinned light-skinned girl. He, like, you know what I mean? The ratchet, loud girl with attitude, or the crazy ex is always the dark-skinned woman. And then, like, the end goal, the guy that it's called, the girl the guy ends up with, it's always light-skinned.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't matter what it is, you're still going to be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're pretty, but at the end of the day, that's what I can tell you.
Yeah.
So imagine going through all that, and the only person that could actually, like, give you, or, like, you need to have, like, the mental strength to give yourself, like, self-love and everything.
And and not everybody has that. It's really, I don't know.
Exactly.
We really have to change society, because when we say society is people. So change the damn people, and society will change as a whole. It's just changing individual opinions matters, because as a whole, in the long term at least, it's gonna matter. But in the Habesha community, like switching it back to that, it's just insane to watch, because again, I didn't clock it for the longest time. But growing up, they would say things like, "Oh, the pretty girl," or like, "Oh, like which one is she? Oh, the red one," which is like the light skin one. And red, I didn't know what it meant, and it was like red equaled pretty. So she was the cute one because she's the light skin one. Again, no correlation. And then over the summer, if I like, my mom would just go crazy if I tanned. And mind you, I loved like getting darker in the summer. And so I'm like, I love my summer shade, but she would get so mad, and especially when I was younger. I mean, I would go like 6 shades darker, not on purpose, just because I played outside, I was on the beach, whatever. And it was insane, like it would be a huge difference by the end of summer. And my mom would just be like, what is wrong with you spending all the time in the sun? But it's not her fault, she was conditioned to believe that way. Like, her mom had told her growing up, like, when it's sunny out, and I've heard this from a lot of black women on TikTok, they're like, growing up, like, our mom told us to come inside when it was sunny, because they don't want us to get darker. And I'm like, that's insane. And like, I ran into a family friend on the street one day, and I had tanned over the summer, and she's like, oh my goodness, she was like, Ruth, like, your skin completely changed. And I was like, yeah, like, it's summer, I'm pale in the winter, but I'm a lot darker in the summer. And she was like, you need to stay inside. Even with me, like, the compliment is like, everyone gets lighter, like a couple shades lighter in the winter. Family members used to be like, oh my god, like, I'm on a bitch, like, you got prettier. And then in the summer, they're gonna be like, oh my god, like, you got darker, what happened? Like, it's like, what happened to you? Like, your face, and I'm just like, it took me a while, but I'm like, wow. Like, it takes
you're
a
just
while.
praising it because I got a couple shades lighter in the winter, and then right in the summer, you know, you have like a problem with it. And this summer, there was like this homeless guy, and he asked me to, like, you know, get him food at Chipotle. And then I got him food, and like, as we were waiting for the line, he was like, oh, like, you're pretty, where are you from? And I was like, Ethiopia, and he was baffled. He was like, what? Ethiopia? What? And I was like, what's wrong with that? He's like, I didn't know they had dark-skinned women there. He was like, I thought it was, like, he was actually shook. And I was like, where did you think I was from? He was like, maybe West Africa, Senegal. Like, he literally said Senegal.
I could see Senegal for you.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. But
a lot of people think I'm from Ghana.
And it's not just your skin tone for you, it's your features.
Really?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, Senegal. He's like, I thought you were Senegalese. I was like, no, I'm East African and everything. And he was shook. And it's the fact that, like, every single time when people think East Africa, the first thing they think of is light-skinned girl, 3C hair, and everything. And literally, there's majority, like, the majority of East African, even in Ethiopia, most of them are
actually the majority of East Africa, period, because outside from a certain, like, 2 regions for real, just 2 regions, they're all dark skinned.
Exactly. And even, they don't even show it, because, like, if you think of Ethiopia, the first thing you think is, like, Amara, Tigray, and Oromo. You don't think of Gambela, Hama, Debu, all the, like, the different tribes with different, like, beautiful skin tone, like, different cultures. They never get any representation. And it's just like, damn, like, the people who are, like, privileged needs to understand that, and then they need to, like, show the, like, you know, the different sides of Ethiopia, especially.
And speaking on that, I went to lunch with my friend this summer. Or was it last summer? The line is blurred, but yeah, I went to lunch with her at Busboys in Arlington, and we were, like, we had an Ethiopian server, Ethiopian woman, very clearly Ethiopian, as are we, and we were, she's a dark-skinned girl, my friend, and we're sitting down, eating, whatever, and the lady comes up to us, and she's, like, talking, mind you, there's 2 of us, but she's talking only to me, and she's like, oh, you're Habesha, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, girl, what's up, yeah, we're talking, I'm like, nice to meet you. Like, I've been here before. I know Jill. Like, I know Stop Shop. And then she was like, we were ordering, and she's like, you know what you want? I was like, no, not yet. Like, what do you recommend? And then she looks at my friend, and my friend has a very clear Habesha name, like a very famous name. So it's like, it's not hard to know. I said her name multiple times too. And then instead she's completely disregarding my friend, talking to her in English. And then at the end of it, when my friend was like, she clocked it. We always talk about sex stuff. She clocked it, and she answers her in Amharic. So when the server asked her order in English, she replied in Amharic. And then the server looked, and she was like stunned. She was like, and again, she's talking to me and not my friend who's talking directly to her. And she was like, oh my goodness, she's like, you did a really good job of teaching her Amharic. And I was like, and then my friend like was about to choke. Like, she was like, teaching me. She's like, girl, I was born in, like, are you dumb? Like, what is not hitting right now? You know what I'm saying? They're in that much of a state of denial. Like, you're Habesha, you're from the land. And I said her name out loud. She spoke to you in fluent Amharic, and you turn to me and say, wow, like, you should have taught your friend well. And then I look and I was like, I didn't teach her anything. And my friend is like, again in Amharic, she's like, I'm Habesha. And she's like, oh wow. She's like, I thought you were African American. No, you didn't. The thing is, like, it was very obvious she was Habesha.
And
you weren't coming in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Except for the fact that she's just
dark skin. But it's insane to me because I'm like, like, she gave you, you know what I'm saying, so many signs that she was, and instead in your head you just like X them out. Like, there's just no way she speaks Amharic. There's like, you excuse her Amharic speaking for like, oh, I taught her a full 3 sentences.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Her name is just a name, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to justify it, and it's so weird to me. I'm like, why is it so hard for you to believe that she's Habesha? And so even in the Habesha community, like, it's weird. It's so odd, and the representation, it matters because it makes me so sad. Again, we range, like, within my family. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of us are of lighter skin, but a whole bunch of us are dark skin too. And so it pains me because I have girl cousins and little cousins and just a bunch of women in my life who are dark skin, and they are drop dead gorgeous. And I don't like the fact that we are born into a culture that will have them forget that or make them believe that they're anything less than that. And so I'm trying to shield them from that, or like, you know, every time I see them, it's just like, oh, you're gorgeous, I hope you know. In case nobody has told you, because I know in our culture, it's not popular to compliment dark skinned girls without saying something backhanded. But it scares me, it's unfortunate. Because I grew up thinking, again, I didn't notice any of this because I benefited from it. But I know for a fact they're going to notice because you have 4C hair, you have darker skin. Like, it's going to affect you at some point.
Exactly.
And I'm dreading that day.
And it's even with the 4C hair and everything, when I see a famous dark skin, I mean, there's very few, but like, when I see the famous dark skin women, they all have the exact same features. It's the straight nose, like the lips, the
button nose, big lips.
Exactly. It has to be very much your essential features, or they have to be literally just like top-notch perfect to even be called pretty.
But I hate calling those your essential features. I hate calling those your essential features. Yeah. Those are very much Somali features to me.
Yeah, okay, but like, the way other people see it, that's like, they deem it as like your essential feature. Yeah. So that's why I'm just like using your essential. Yeah. But
think about the girls that, like, the dark skin girls, Kiki Palmer, Ryan Destiny. Like, Ryan Destiny is, just drop dead gorgeous. I will never say anything bad about her. She's just stunning. But look at her features. One, she's mixed. I think people just don't realize that her skin is so dark. Yeah. She's not fully black, but it's insane because if you look at her features, I mean, she looks like a Bratz doll. Like, super small nose, big lips. If she had a big nose and small lips, she would not get the attention she gets. And that makes me mad. Because when you're a dark skinned woman, you have to be the baddest in the room to get like half the attention mediocre light skinned girl would get. And speaking on that, that's another thing for me. Like, I was talking to my friend about this. One of my dark skinned friends, she was like, and mind you, one thing about us, all our friends, we're very cocky. And all my friends here at home, we're all very confident. Yeah. And so we never like stress our appearance because we just believe we look amazing. But we were talking about it, and I was like, you know, when a guy approaches me or when someone compliments me, especially men, I never take it seriously, or in my head, I'm just like, I downplay it to think the only reason you're even looking at me is because I'm light skinned with my type of curly hair, especially if I have my hair out. I'm like, you don't think I'm that cute. You don't even know me. If they got to know me, I'd believe it. But I'm like, off the bat, I don't take your compliments seriously, because in my head, I'm like, if I wasn't this skin tone, didn't have the stereotype, you wouldn't even be looking at me. She's like, are you serious? She's like, that type of stuff doesn't cross my mind. Like you said, she's like, when a guy compliments me, I'm just like, thanks. Like, it doesn't even cross my mind that it's about like my skin tone or my hair, but I'm like, for me it does, because I've noticed so much that, especially during quarantine, when we were walking, I remember walking around the mall with my mask on, and 6, 7 very, very grown men were hitting on me, and it's like, let me take you out to dinner, like just huge advances. And I just remember being like, you can't see my face. You literally cannot see my face. This is very weird to me. Like, I would never approach somebody with a mask on where you can only see their eyes and then ask them out to dinner. Like, you don't even know if you're attracted to me, literally.
I can even tell, like, I get different types of, like, attention from men when I have my hair out, and, like, I look, like, exotic or, like, I don't know, like, racially, like, ambiguous, because, like, usually it's always, like, my eyes are, like, light brown, and my hair is out, so they're like, oh, where's she from?
Yeah.
You can't just be black. It's always, like, what are you mixed with?
Yeah.
And I hate that, because even with compliments, they, like, talk to me or whatever, and then they say, what are you mixed with? And I'm like, I'm just Ethiopian. Like, I'm black, literally. But when I have my hair, like wigs or, like, what's it called, braids and stuff, it's never really like that. Like, you know what I mean? The type of attention I get with my actual natural hair out and everything, and with wigs, braids, and everything, it's just like, it's entirely different.
So
and
different.
Even,
so
like,
different.
speaking with, like, braids and everything, my, I remember I got my braids. No, I got locks. I got locks, and I went home, and it was like a big family, like my mom's family friend, everyone was there. And the first thing they said, they were like, I like it, but don't go message. Like, you look black. Like, she was
And
like, now you don't even look
African-American.
Abisha. They literally was like, oh my god, you don't even look Abisha. So, like, I grew up thinking, like, okay, the only thing that gives me as, like, Abisha is my hair. And that should never ever be it, because what? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's fucking stupid.
I just find it extremely odd and alarming that it's always black men who start these problems. Always. 100% of the time.
It's
always
the
black men.
internalized, what's it called?
Yeah.
They they lack self-love.
And they don't understand colorism. Like, a lot of them are very dense. And this is not me insulting them.
I truly
it's a
don't
fact.
believe it, because I'm so sorry, especially coming from dark-skinned men, as a dark-skinned man, how do you not understand colorism? Because 4 years ago, you guys were not, like, up there, you know what I mean? Dark-skinned men were never the one that were, like, looked, like, you know, preferred. What, imagine even in high school, African booty scratcher, all that, like, all those really negative comments, you went through bullying as a dark-skinned man, you went through bullying, you went through, because I remember I always talk about this, one guy who posted, he was like, 3-4 years ago, I really struggled with self-love, because everyone said I was ugly, African booty scratcher, all that, like, you know, they were bullying him because he was dark-skinned, and then, a couple years later, he's literally like the preferred guy, dark-skinned man, and he struggled with it, because how do you go from, like, society hating your skin, society hating, like, what you look like, to being every girl that you wanted in your DMs, they all want you now and everything. And
they don't understand fetishization either, like, they don't.
Exactly, but coming from that, like, the whole, like, flip, how do you go back? It's like the oppressed being, like, the oppressor type. Like, how do you go, like, you literally went through, like, you know, self-love problems, society's telling you, like, you're not attractive, you're not like that, all that. And then, right when you're, like, on the flip side, when you're, like, benefiting off of it, how are you going to bash dark-skinned women? Because clearly you understand what you went through, and, like, the only reason why people didn't even find you attractive before is because you were just darker.
I don't think they do.
And then how do you go back?
This is what I mean by when I say they're dense, like, they don't look back, they don't think, oh, X, Y, and Z happened. They did this, they see it as, like, especially with guys, they take things too lightly.
They see it as they glowed up.
Yeah, and they
actually probably
they really glowed up. No, and
okay.
they also just believe, like, oh, like, you know, guys are rough, like, we all talk about each other, we all believe, it was just, like, slight bullying. And they don't believe it was so, like, fixated on their race. They don't understand colorism. I'm telling you, I literally, in the past, like, year or two, I had to explain to my brother what colorism was. He did not get it. He was just the entire time, he's like, Ruth, all this shit, like, he's like, isms, you just be making shit up. And I'm like, you don't get it, you benefit. He's a light-skinned guy. Like, my brother's lighter than me, like, you benefit from it. If we hadn't had that conversation in his head, it's not that he had ill intent, it's that it doesn't even enter his mind.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. With guys, it doesn't even cross their mind, Hermella, and that's what makes me mad. Like, we need to sit down and have these conversations because it's necessary, because the ones getting hurt are us. It's black women, it's not them.
Because the thing is, I feel like at this day and age, I don't think ignorance, that's not a pass right now. You know what I mean? Because currently, that's what, like, most of the conversations, we talk more about it because we actually notice colorism. So I just don't understand how to this day, it's just a preference, because how is skin, like a skin tone a preference? Like, if I like you, I like you. If you're attractive, you're attractive.
You're right when you said ignorance is just not even an option right now. But this is the point I'm trying to make. This is why we say black men are the weakest link, because black men, I think, disrespects black women more than anybody else, because if they cared enough about black women, every black woman knows about colorism.
Exactly.
The light skins who want to deny it, again, just want to stay ignorant, stay in their happy place. Truly every black woman that I've ever spoken to understands colorism, knows who benefits from it, and knows who doesn't. So we all talk about it, we all complain about it, we all, have discussions like this about it.
Yeah.
Black men see that. They just don't care enough about making us feel better and changing the situation for us to research into it.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed recently too, every single time they find an attractive dark-skinned woman, they go through hell and back to make sure that she's brown skinned and not dark. You know what I mean? Like, every single time, even, especially, like, there was an argument, even with me. They were like, I remember I was with a group of guys, and we were talking about, like, colorism and everything.
Yeah.
And they were like, Hermella's brown skin. And I had to laugh because, please, like, first of all, just because you find me attractive, it doesn't mean I have to be brown skin. Like, I can be an attractive dark skin.
They have to rationalize it, like, how am I finding a dark skin woman attractive?
Exactly. So I feel like, if you're going, like, through all those trials and whatever to prove people that, like, oh, the girl's like, she's brown skin, not dark skin. Clearly you understand the negative connotation in dark skin, and you're still, like, you don't care. You're still trying to make it, like, you just don't want to look like the type of guy that likes dark skinned women. And it's crazy to me because, like, where, like, all the women lie and everything, like, the levels of it. You just don't care about it. I'm sorry, but black men, and especially light-skinned women, need to, like, meet up. Y'all need to meet up, have a conversation, sit down and watch videos and whatever, and try to learn and try to, like, change it. Because especially even, like, I hate it, like, at least black men, they're just ignorant. Like, they're like, the head is not heading.
Men as a whole, right?
Men as a whole. But for light-skinned women to even do that, it's like when it comes to feminism, if you do anything against it, you're like, oh, you're anti-feminist, you're not supporting women. Yeah. But that doesn't apply when it comes to, like, supporting dark-skinned women and try to actually, like, make the playing field a little bit.
Or listen, bare minimum you can do, and I truly mean bare minimum. You can do a lot more than this, but is listen to them. Yeah. If someone is, and this goes for really anything, it's just something you should do throughout your life. If someone is telling you about their lived experience, who are you to question it? I think that's my first strike, and, like, I tell you, you have a lot of patience. I don't have half the patience she has. If someone is telling you their lived experience and you in any way question it or undermine it, you have every right to smack the shit out of them or walk away, whichever one works for you in that situation, because nothing is more disrespectful than that. I think that is so disrespectful, whether it's people in your life, whether it's a stranger. Like, if we're sitting there and you're like, well, somebody treated me this way, and I believe it's because I was a dark-skinned woman in the room. And imagine me being like, girl, you're overthinking it. Girl, everything's not about race. Please, oh my God. Like, love yourself. This is what? You think I'm making that up? You think it's in my head? You think I'm creating these problems like they don't exist?
Stop, bro. Again, stop telling dark-skinned women to love themselves and start fixing the problem. Like, hey guys, so this is like days after recording that video. Somehow the camera wasn't recording the rest of the footage, so that's all we have. That's all I have in my laptop right now. So I'm just gonna finish it up right here. Like me and Ruth said for the entire video, it's better to address the actual problem instead of telling, like, us dark skins to be like, love yourself. And also, when a dark skinned woman is telling you what they went through, believe them. Just listen to them instead of just gaslighting them and just telling them that, like, oh, they're just in their heads. Because 90% of the time they're not. 100% actually, they're not. If you're privileged, please be aware of your privilege and try to fix it. And men, especially men, please take notes. Please educate yourself when it comes to colorism. Stop neglecting dark-skinned women and start actually paying attention to these problems, because most of the time you guys are the main cause of it. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a like and comment, and also subscribe. If you want to share your story about colorism and how you've experienced it, or if you've witnessed colorism, comment down below. Also, if you like these type of videos, please comment down below any other topics that you want me and my friends to discuss about, and I will definitely do it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.